okay, this is my third attempt at just saying what this programme is. It's MJT's Wycombe Wanderers Plus, and it's number 6. Yes, I've got it right.
Well done.
Okay. Yeah, I'm really proud of myself for that. But we're obviously going to start at the beginning with the most important topic, which is Wycombe Wanderers scoring 2 goals in a game, but still not winning. Letting 2 goals in as well, I might add. Did you see the highlights?
I did indeed, yeah.
Well, the highlights didn't show you everything.
No.
Disappointing in the sense that it was the defending that was pretty shocking. I say the defending because that's not blaming the defence entirely, certainly not for the second goal. Wycombe's 2 goals, excellent. We've scored 2 decent goals with the ball in play. I mean, they didn't have to score a corner, and that's good to know. And I hope this means McCreary gets his sort of, he's off and running now, because I thought he looked excellent. As for Preston, well, I wasn't too overly impressed with them.
Just like a bog standard championship team.
A bog standard, middle of the road. Yeah, they're mid-table, nothing better, nothing worse.
No.
I mentioned the defence with the second, well, we'll deal with the first one. The first one was a perfect Wycombe goal had it been at the other end, wasn't it?
This what we try and do, isn't it?
Followed by the head, followed by the goal. I mean, that was what Wycombe tried to do at the front. So let's bring on those defenders and put them up front, see if they can do it the other way.
Something like that. Be fair to the striker, he did capitalise in it very well. Like, I don't think many strikers would have gone for it the same way he did, kind of thing. So kind of fair play to him. But yes, it's still a defensive mistake, isn't it? And it shouldn't happen. It's a big gut.
And the second, I will bring up this topic a bit later when we talk about something else. And I know there's somebody who's commented before about me not liking Alex Samuel. I'm afraid that was his mistake that gave the second goal away. It doesn't matter which way you look at it. He had the ball. He was defending the ball in their half with minutes left on the clock. What's a forward supposed to do when he has the ball in the opposition's half, Kieran, when you wait, hanging out time? Keep it.
It's a corner, don't you?
Keep it. Or
keep it,
yeah, whatever you do, you don't go into a tackle, do you?
Don't let the opposition run away with it, do you?
He had McCreary on the far right, all on his own, waiting for that ball to go across the pitch. It was a sideways kick, that was all. And what did Samuel do? He put his head down, waited for them to come to him, and then fall over and gave the ball away. And they then ran down the right-hand side of our football pitch, put the ball in, goal. I'm sorry, that was Alex Samuel's fault, and I'm gonna deal with the whole topic of falling over a bit later regarding the type of football that is now played. I'll come to that later. So in the end, are we happy with that tool? Do you think we can happy with that?
I think you've got to be happy that you've scored 2 pretty decent goals, and it's still in a part of the season where, of course, a win would be ultimately the most important thing, but I don't think it's going to be a thing that defines our season. You may come and look back at it at the end and be like, oh, we dropped 2 points there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But who's to say that's going to happen?
Well,
I hope it doesn't, and
I mean,
I think
the next game we have, of course, he says, moving his glasses, is a Wednesday, and we're away at Barnsley. Now, that anything can happen at Barnsley. We really don't know. One moment they look like the best on form team. The next moment they're dropping points left, right, and centre. So we don't really know about that one. We had Sheffield Wednesday, of course, playing, and they did all right, but not good enough. They lost 2-1 at Norwich. Norwich had dropped 1 or 2 points recently, but they've got their full team. No, that's not true. They've got some of their better players back from injury. There's still a few out, and they're still not firing on all cylinders, but they are, doing all right. Of course, we'll come to the derby as the last one out of this little scenario. Rotherham, excellent, lost, and I suppose they played Coventry and lost 3-1 and looked shocking. They didn't look good at all, and Rotherham's performance has gone downhill. They're not. They got to be more worried than Wycombe, I would think. They're not drawing even. They're losing.
Yeah.
And I think they've got things to worry about. Other teams, Nottingham Forest are one of the 5 as well. And Nottingham Forest lost 2-0 to Reading. But to be fair to Nottingham Forest, Reading looked good.
Yeah.
Reading have got 3 guys up front that I wouldn't say any of them are number 9s, but they're all real top quality strikers of sorts.
So it's like Firmino, Mane, Salah. None of them are strikers, but they're just up there, kind of thing.
That sort of thing, and they've all got different talents. And this is what Wycombe need. Wycombe need a number 9 that has lots of different talents. And this really does separate the men from the boys in this league. It's the guy up front that can do more than head a football, the guy up front that can do more than run at the ball, the guy up front that can do more than hold the ball up.
Not the easiest thing to find, these players, though, is it?
They're the most expensive. And even if they don't score every goal, if they could just score a few. And
you're looking for a 20-goal a season striker, essentially.
Yeah. Rather than how many goals we scored in total? 8, isn't it? Something like that.
Small, isn't it?
It's small, very small. Yeah. I mean, we're going to be lucky to get anybody getting to double figures. But he is back up on his feet, this guy, and he is running around, and they're hoping he'll be back for Christmas.
Oh, is he? It's taking this time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that was a bad thing, but it has been a while since we've seen him.
It has been a while. And then we'll come to Derby, who won at Milwall. Now, be careful what you say.
Oh, we're going to delve into this, are we? A
little bit. I think we have to.
Yeah.
Milwall could have lost that game because of. Now, as
I'm surprised players didn't walk off the pitch, to be honest.
Well, that's what they should have done. And just to make it clear for everybody who doesn't know, but I would imagine everybody does know, is that when they went down on one knee, the Milwall fans booed. Now, in certain little places, it does suggest it was 1 or 2. That isn't true. Okay? I want to make that clear. They interviewed a few people that were there, 1 or 2 fans that didn't, but they reckon it was more than 1 or 2. We, I believe, were certainly into hundreds.
You could hear it on the news reports. It was more than a few. It was a lot,
wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that surely would have messed up the Milwall players more than the Derby players? That your home,
Potentially, yeah.
your home own fans are booing you because you're black.
Are they doing it because of that, or are they booing it because of the gesture? Maybe.
I don't think. I think you can start turning that into politics, maybe, which is what the Conservative guy tried to do. But in the end, I think it's racism. It's we don't like, and if I well, white or black in that Millwall team, I think you would have just wanted to crawl up into the corner and wish you weren't there, because of not just because it's your fans. I mean, how bad is because in the end, isn't the football team the fans? Isn't that what it's there for?
It's built around, yes, yeah.
And so if that's what their fans are like, now remember those 2,000. I presume if they handed out the tickets like Wycombe did, then it means they're the ones that have been going the longest, or they're the ones that got their season tickets first, etc. That's the Millwall core of fans.
Yeah, if you're a player, and at the end of the day, you are representing those fans as such. And if you're a player and you hear what they did, you wouldn't want to represent them at all, would you? No one would, I would have thought. No. How can you?
I would think any of those players just want to leave.
I'd leave the club straight away, yeah.
So
I mean,
any
would have
shot
thought
they
they'd know
lost
about
any shot they lost 1-0.
Absolutely not.
No. I bet I'm surprised they didn't kick the ball in their own bloody net, actually.
Yeah.
Is the honest truth. Because I don't know why the Millwall players didn't walk off. Not necessarily the Derby players, because in the end, you could almost use that, couldn't you?
To an extent. But probably did affect the Derby players in some way, but
not as much, surely, as your own fans. I mean, that must be... I mean, can you imagine that happening at Wycombe? Can you imagine? Would Gareth Ainsworth want to be manager?
I'd want to leave the stadium if I was a fan, quite honestly, if I just
I would
have
got up and walked. Yeah, absolutely. I'm amazed that game took place. And, you know, they're all having little talks now on what they're going to do about it, and all this about, you know, what they can do in the community, etc., etc. And I'm sorry, but in the end, I believe some people, you have three different sorts of people. You have those that aren't racist, those that are racist, and you have those that can learn. Okay, and I believe that to be true. And I believe that because in past generations, we've had to learn. The older you are, the more we've had to learn. And that is true. That is true. My dad and what he thinks, etc., he's learning. You're learning, because what you were once told was true isn't true, and you're learning. But you also do have those that are racist, full stop. You have the ones in America that stand there with a machine gun.
Yeah.
Black guys walk past. You can take them to as many lessons as you like. You can do as much community work as you like. No. Those people, surely there were only 2,000 in the stand. Surely there's cameras knocking around. Surely ban, full stop.
I imagine they'll probably ban all the fans, to be honest. Not necessarily all the fans who are there, but like just having fans at Millwall in general, at least for a bit.
Until when? What difference is it going to make? I'd say let them back in and have the cameras there and find out who's doing what, and then you can ban the ones full time.
It's also an option, yeah.
The other thing, why not bring in those 2,000 and interview them? They know who they handed the tickets out to.
True.
Bring them in and interview them.
Wonder how many of them will turn up.
Well, you know, if they don't get their season ticket back. I think, it's all well and fine going. I thought going down on one knee, yeah, okay, it's made its point. Now let's get on with it. Do we have to keep doing this? And then when that happened, you think, I was shocked.
I saw it pop up on Twitter, and I was like, "You have got to be kidding! Like, this is not happening still in 2020. This cannot be a story that we're hearing. It's absolutely absurd. I don't get it."
And those fans are the season ticket holders. And when they start letting away fans back into your stadium, do we want Milwall fans at Wycombe Wanderers?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. When Milwall turn up to Wycombe, that's the one occasion we see police. Never see it.
They've always been known for being violent, haven't they? And that's all I really thought it ever was. But now you can obviously see what it extends.
I thought that we had to talk about that. I just thought that was so sad for Milwall Football Club. I'd want to change your name. The other thing worth mentioning is Brentford Blackburn 2-2. What a game that was! You've got your two top goal scorers in that, and both scored. They're going at it, those two teams. And I thought that was a great game.
Blackburn smashed us, didn't they?
5, if I remember. The interesting thing about the table, though, have you looked at the Championship table at all, Kieran?
I've seen that the top 10, there's 4 points between it or something?
7. But Norwich got 31. Got Bournemouth and Reading on 30, Swansea 29, Stoke 28, then Brentford, Watford, Bristol City on 27. So they're your top 8.
Yeah, top 8's all within 4 points.
Top 8's all within 4 points. And in some respects, that doesn't help Wycombe because it means they're all taking points off of everybody's taking points off of everybody, and that's not good. You wanted a top 3 or 4 that just whopped everybody to keep everybody else down.
True.
Whereas if the standard is higher amongst more teams, it makes it more difficult.
Is the standard higher or is it lower?
Well,
could be either way. You'd imagine it's higher, but you never know.
I mean, they reckon the Championship is it something like about 7th best?
I thought it was 5th.
5th.
It's up there.
It's up there, and I love it. I prefer the Championship. I've enjoyed the Championship far more than the Premiership for a long time, and that's because anybody could go up and anybody could go down. And this year, being a little bit closer than that, I don't like the idea that Wycombe, Rotherham and Coventry all down there in the bottom 6. I don't like that. Because
that's very expected.
Yeah, and that's not good. You should be able to move up and move up. And that applies to the teams that come down from the Premier League. And then, but in saying that, in the last few years, look at how many teams have been in the Premier League, Kieran. You name, if I read them out, you say yes or no. Norwich.
Yes.
Bournemouth.
Yes.
Reading.
Yes. No. Yes. 2017, something around there. Yes.
Swansea.
Yeah.
Stoke.
Yeah.
Brentford.
No.
Watford.
Yes.
Bristol City.
No.
They were quite a while ago.
Yeah.
Blackburn Rovers.
Yeah.
Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
Cardiff.
Yeah.
Luton.
No.
I remember Luton up there.
Oh, are you saying that at all time or just
no? I mean
years?
within, Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, this is where the point comes, you see, because there's your top half. Now, your bottom half are all those like Barnsley, Queen's Park Rangers, Coventry, Rotherham, Wycombe, Derby, Birmingham. They're all the ones that have not had their parachute money knocking around, or have never had any for a long time. All the teams that you kept saying yes to are either still, there's 9 teams in the Championship that are still receiving parachute money this year. So they're being supplied more millions than the bottom half. Now, that is probably improving the Championship as long as the next 3 don't go up. As long as it starts coming down, so there's more and more teams coming down and staying down, and different ones going up, then it works. But the problem is, what it's doing is it is starting to split, in my opinion, the Championship.
So you need 3 different teams to go up then into the Premier League. Yeah. So Brentford.
What you don't need is the last 3 to come down to go up. And Norwich and Bournemouth were in the top 2 places. You don't want that to happen, because what you'll be doing is you'll be crippling the Championship and make it unentertaining.
Well, I mean, as you say, I think this is really the first time in quite a long time where this has been happening, that the top 2 or 3 are the teams who came down. And so hopefully this might just be a little blip kind of thing, but we wait to see, don't we?
We'll wait to see. Now, just to mention on this, I will say that I will be doing a recording in a week or so, all about money, parachute money, how much it is, how much these clubs can expect to get, how much the teams in the Premier League get, say from Liverpool to Newcastle to the smaller teams. And I will explain all the money from all the different cups, that they're all raking in from different things. And it will make it clear that you could actually, just by looking at money, you could probably draw out the top Premier League and the Championship. You can work out who'd be roughly where, based on the money. And I think that is a real worry. Okay. Okay, next topic is boring football. Sean Sean Dyche wrote an article in the newspaper this week about how we're ruining the game for fans by it being one touch and you'd fall on the ground screaming. And that I was going to use, say, girly football, but that is really, really unfair, because most girls do not scream at such a high-pitched voice as most men do on a football pitch. That's the truth.
True.
I mean, hasn't it got this whole idea of a little touch on your ankle and over you go and roll around to get the penalty? Isn't that killing the game?
Because it's not even the player's fault that this is happening, is it? If they know that they're going to get a penalty for rolling around on the floor for something very minimal, then they're going to do it, aren't they? It's how you win, isn't it? So
we will discuss Chelsea and Leeds match in one moment, but everybody, take a look at this from 1970. This was considered the dirtiest game ever, but it was pretty entertaining. I mean, you've got Chopper Harris in there, etc. If that doesn't give you a clue what the game was like. And just to mention, there was only one yellow card handed out. Take a look at this.
"20 minutes gone, no score. And it's a goal! It's a goal! I think it's Charlton. Osgood. It's Charlton almost put for his own goal. Houseman. He scored! Jones approached and created a gap in the middle. A wonderful save by Benetti. Hutchinson. And again, great goalkeeping against Osgood. A goal, Jones! Jones has done it. Hutchinson, a goal! And it's a draw in 1970. The first time since 1912 a great match has ended. Last time 1912 at Crystal Palace. And so it's a replay on the 29th. This is a better break. And now for Nick Jones. A good break by Jones. And he's still going on for Jones. A goal! Webb has scored. And it's Bremner for Leeds and brought down by Cook. A great game at Wembley, a great game here. Chelsea coming from behind to win. Chelsea have won it. Chelsea have won it. And there's Webb getting mobbed, the scorer of the winning goal. And they're the Chelsea fans. The victorious Chelsea team. Full marks to a side that can come from behind and win. Especially against Leeds. All recriminations forgotten. The players swap shirts. The crowd cheer.
Okay, so now the interesting thing is, wasn't that a bit more fun?
More fun, but probably more injuries. I would imagine Klopp wouldn't be very happy with it.
Yeah, maybe a bit over the top, but you know what I'm getting at, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, to jump in the box and you feel a hand on the back, and so you dart forward, laying flat, rolling around, stopping time. But I mean, it's always happening. You don't. I have to be honest. You don't see it so much in Championship football or League.
No, it's more physical, isn't it?
It's a lot more physical. And so, what's wrong with the Premier League? Because isn't it ruining it for the fans? Don't get a bit drag.
It doesn't look great, does it? Players build up reputations, and then they do it week in, week out, and you're like, oh, Salah's dived again, Sterling's dived again. There was the one that Sterling the weekend that was rubbish. It was genuinely awful. It was like the slightest touch on his shin, and he went down. And it just like looking at it, it looks rubbish. And I can't imagine a player can be proud of just diving around on the floor like that. It just looks poor more than anything, and it doesn't look good on the sport.
But these people are happy to do this.
Yeah.
They don't seem to. But the problem is that did you see the West Brom sending off?
Yes, which just isn't really.
Well, see, I looked at it and I thought, well,
you can kind of see where he's going with it and why he's been sent off, but you just don't want him to be sent off.
Common sense tells you that was nothing. It was nothing. I mean, that's pathetic, you know. Really, I mean, really. And did you see the player where he touched him? I mean, do you see his facial expression? Oh, you know, and you're thinking, you wet rag. And I agree with Sean Dyche.
Nice.
And I agree with him. I think they are turning football into a wet game. Drip is what I would say. Drippy. I would say treat us like common. They treat us like we're idiots, and the idea that you have to go down to get the penalty ruins the game, and the attitude of I want to get the penalty and I'll do anything I can to get it is sad. I think, hey, grow up, turn it back into a men's. Sorry, I don't mean that. I mean, but physical is supposed to be a physical sport, isn't it? If it's not, let's all dress up like American footballers. Yeah.
It's kind of like you can't go a game now at all without an instant where someone's dived or a VAR instant. And it's just annoying because then all you talk about afterwards is that incident. It's just like...
Yeah, the other 90 minutes...
Rather talk about... Yeah.
No, Well, I think the how to deal with that has to be something. It's very difficult to say how to deal with it. The first is you've got to get cheating out of the game. That's the first thing. And I think if any dive or anything like that, and I think you get a 5-match ban or something, you take the cheating out. That's the first thing you've got to do. You've got to try and make sure they don't start rolling all over the pitch when there's nothing wrong. And I just think the teams and the players have now missed the point about what football is for us. I think they're on a different planet now. They're on their own planet about what it's about.
It's an entertainment first and foremost, isn't it?
It should be, but it isn't anymore.
I don't think Mourinho quite gets that, to be fair. Of all people.
But I just think they're going to lose fans. I really believe that. They're going to start losing fans because certainly with VAR and with diving and with that, down there, I've broken my arm. I think that is, you just, oh goodness, no more. I can't be bothered anymore. It's getting a bit like that. And I felt sorry for the West Brom guy. I see why in the rules, but common sense tells you, for goodness sake, that was never a red card, was it?
There was something that Carragher said on Sky Sports the other day. It's like, it's always been an unwritten rule that to be a penalty, it has to be a bit more of a foul than just like outside the box kind of thing. Even just normal play, if you trip someone up, and fine.
Isn't it now the opposite?
No, it's the opposite, it feels like, because the fouls you get just around the whole pitch, they don't get checked by VAR, and so it doesn't matter. Everything gets checked by VAR in the penalty area, and so they give the slightest minimal things. And so it's as you say, it's even less in the penalty area now. You can touch someone and they you get a penalty. It's just annoying and boring, quite honestly.
Yeah, and I think that needs to be drummed in to referees and players. It needs to be drummed into managers and explained that it's actually there for the fans, and make sure that is what's on the football pitch is for the fans. And it's not anymore. I have to say that. I read Sean Dyche's comments and I actually agree with him. Okay, predictions. How many do we get right and wrong?
Let me have a look. I did write it down. So we said the same thing for most of them. I think there's a few that we changed.
So
but
we were both wrong on most then, were we?
No, to be fair, we were pretty decent. Burnley-Everton was a draw, which we did say. We said Man City would beat Fulham about 10-0. There was only 2, which is a bit disappointing. Annoyingly, we did both say that United would beat West Ham. And, of course, the exact thing happened that we said would happen, that they go 1-0 down and then they win it in the second half.
First half, shocking. Second half, okay. That's their norm, isn't it?
And then we both said Leeds would beat Chelsea, but in fact Chelsea did win 3-1.
Yeah.
That game kind of just dragged out towards the end. It was just like, Chelsea have won. Fair enough. Leeds didn't do enough to win that game, unfortunately. We both said West Brom would beat Crystal Palace. Whoops. We'll blame that one on VAR.
Yeah. I mean, bit of a shame, really, but well, it depends. And what's his name? The guy?
Zaha.
No, the other one. Eze, wasn't he good?
He was very good, which is always a bonus for Wycombe, isn't it? But we did. In our predictions, we thought Zaha wasn't going to be about, and he was, of course. So
yeah. And you have to mention in that game, Benteke scored 2 goals.
He did. Decent finishes as well.
How about that? Especially his second one.
Very good.
On the turn. Yeah, I mean, how about that? Benteke scored, but not
your favourite player. This is the first one we actually changed. I said that Sheffield versus Leicester would be a draw. You said Leicester would win, and they did in the 92nd minute or something.
That is, you know how your mother's not too impressed with fouls, sort of, taking one for the team. That's where their defender should have taken one for the team. It was going to be almost the last kick of the game. They'd got a point, and he knew as soon as that guy got away from him, he'd had it. He doesn't miss.
Yeah. He had 2 seconds to realise that he had to just take him out. And he didn't.
He should have just taken him out. I don't like that. Yes, I do. Yeah, why not?
Do it, yeah. I mean, they would have got a point. I would have been right.
Part of the game in my book, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Bring back violence.
That's what we love. We did both say Spurs would win, and of course they did. There was absolutely no way that Arsenal would do anything in that game.
Do you know, they reckon that Tottenham had 30 touches in the top third of the pitch, and Arsenal had 250 touches in the top third of the pitch. And
amazing.
And what's the Arsenal manager's name?
Arteta.
He went on and on about the week before he'd had over 30 crosses, and eventually it'll, just keep crossing the ball, we'll score. They had another 30 crosses in this game. And he works, I'm sure it was him that came up with a statement saying that if 2 people went on a picnic and took a full chicken to eat, one of them ate the chicken and the other one didn't touch any, then statistics will tell you they each had half a chicken.
Right.
And therefore, you cannot trust statistics. You cannot go by the numbers. But he does, doesn't he? He plays by numbers. It's a jigsaw puzzle to him. He doesn't. He works. His attitude is, we cross it 30 times, and if you look at percentages, that's how many goals.
Yeah.
Well, that's not. You can't do that. I mean, we played Stoke the other day. We had no chances, scored no goals. They had one chance, scored a goal. But had we had 5 chances, with the way Wycombe play, who do you think would have won? We don't know. I mean, that's the thing. You can't go on statistics. That's daft.
Well, if he wants to go statistics, the statistic he should look at is that I think Aubameyang and Lacazette have scored over 100 goals for Arsenal, and 4 of them have been headers between the both of them.
Oh, really?
So how does he think that them two are going to be able to head the ball if, like, a very, very small percentage of their goals are actually headers? And they probably are marked headers as well, to be fair. He's not exactly going to beat Alderweireld or Dyer in the air. So,
well, Mourinho's got it together again, hasn't he?
Annoyingly.
But
they need to lose to someone.
Or somebody jump on Kane's foot.
Kane's the one who's jumping on other people. There's one thing that Kane does that I imagine there's loads of footballers who does it, but like there's genuinely a compilation now where the ball's high up in the air. Kane just stands still and waits for another player to come running in and then backs into them so that the other player goes flying over the top of him and Kane wins the foul. And it looks so unbelievably dangerous because the other player is like flying over the top and he lands awkwardly on his back. It's a thing that Kane does week in, week out. It's really annoying.
I'll watch that. I'll have a look for that.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. It bugs me.
The interesting thing, I think, though, is that Mourinho has changed what Kane does on the football pitch, hasn't he?
Mm.
He is no longer the guy up front tapping them in on the line or scoring penalties only.
Mm.
He's doing more than that now, isn't he?
Yeah.
He actually is in his half.
Mm. Giving the ball to Son.
I believe he was actually in his own penalty area more often than he was in the opposition's.
Probably. But then the one time he's in the opposition penalty area, he scores.
And Arsenal, you have to say, what the flip were they doing? I mean, that guy went off. Did you see him go off injured? For their goal. And they didn't work. They saw him go off to go and get sorted, and nobody moved back to deal with that at all. And then they just let him go off, and then he came back on after they'd done the runner. And he came on about 300 yards behind. I don't know what
was it. I think Arteta said that the player didn't understand the gravity of the situation or something. And so it looked like the player was injured, and I think Arteta pushed him on. I don't think Arteta's that good.
No, nor do I.
I think he had a decent period, and now it's just like, you're
most
no better
managers do, don't they,
Solskjaer.
at the beginning.
Yeah.
Most managers do to start with. A few don't.
No.
Don't.
Well,
okay, and
the last one was we both said that Liverpool would win, and of course they absolutely smashed Wolves, which I was very surprised by, to be honest with you.
goalkeeper.
The goalkeeper was excellent. I can have no complaints with him so far. He looks a little bit tentative when on the ball, but for a backup goalkeeper, that's fine by me.
Take one out of the air from a cross. His arms seem to sort of.
He's a big boy.
Doubling.
Yeah.
Well, you know. Where did he get that from?
He's like 6'7" or something. He's ridiculous. But I'm very happy with that. And Trent was back as well. He got an assist when he came on. I can have no complaints. I really didn't think we was going to go that well, but
do you know, this is where I think Tottenham are going to trip up, because there are an awful lot of players missing out of that Liverpool team still, and the replacements coming in are young. But it works like this: they have a plan. Liverpool have a plan, and I reckon they spend most of their life on that football pitch in training, working to the plan. Okay? And they plan, and they plan, and they plan. And when one of the youngsters come in and he replaces one of the better players, he still plays exactly in the same way, even though it's not necessarily up to the top quality. But he always knows what he's doing, where he's supposed to go, and where other people are on the pitch. And that's a whopping advantage. If you're a youngster, you come in, you're given that position because so-and-so and so-and-so are out. But you've practiced and practiced with Liverpool, and you know, you put the ball there, that's where he is. You put the ball there, that's where he is. And wherever the ball is, with whoever's got it, you know where you're going. And
It's
that's drill.
Yeah. That's Curtis Jones, isn't it? That's the big example for that in our midfield. He's played a lot of games recently. He's only 19, and he looks exactly the same as if Wijnaldum or Henderson play there. They all play. It's a carbon copy.
Yeah, it is. They might not be quite as.
No, of course.
But it's not dangerous football. You're not bunging on somebody who doesn't know what they're doing.
Mm. The only Nico Williams at right back had a few little dodgy games when he first came in, but the last 2 or 3 he's looked excellent. He's of course not got the crossing, quality of Trent like barely anyone does, but he's still a right back who you can now trust to be your backup right back. We have a backup in every position.
Yeah,
it's great.
And so I think Liverpool can ride the storm with that type of team. Whereas I think I'm not convinced Tottenham will. If Tottenham can get through the season, I think then they stand a chance with those players. But I can't. I worry if you take one of their main men out. I don't think you'd have if you. I mean, everybody talks about Kane. But if you were to take Son or Kane out, is there anybody else? If you take Salah out, which he was out, you could.
Well, I mean, Spurs have Bale on the bench still, don't they?
But he's not the same player.
He's not the same as he was, no.
It's different. That's not his. Do they have anybody that can play what he does?
No, not in the same way whatsoever.
No, it would change the dynamics of the team, wouldn't it?
Whereas if a Liverpool player gets injured, it just doesn't change. It
doesn't change. And I think that's their advantage. I also think I think Chelsea stand a chance of turning up higher than Tottenham for that reason included. I think they're similar. They're a little bit more like that.
They have a pattern.
But they do have their pattern. They do have their take one out and you put him in, and they play the same. And I think you can take their best out and still put somebody in. And I also have to mention Paul Giroud. Okay, you got to start this game, but why is he always so often a substitute? My goodness, I wish he'd come to Wycombe. We'll have him.
The stat with him that just says everything is, I think he's the 2nd highest scorer in France's history.
I don't understand.
Yet, at club level, you just don't really think of him, which is annoying because I think he's excellent.
I just don't get it. I don't understand why any team wouldn't have him in the starting 11. I don't get it.
No.
And is he happy?
I think the France manager said to him that he's got to leave in January if he wants to get a place in the Euros. Unless he starts playing more, of course.
34
2, 3? Yeah, something like
that. Yeah. I mean, him and Vardy, I mean, they look so slow, don't they?
Yeah, I wouldn't say Giroud is the quickest player, but he's still banging goals in, isn't he?
I see Vardy got a yellow card for breaking the...
That was quite funny.
Wasn't it? Good, wasn't it?
Yeah, he did well.
Impressive. Okay, I think we've covered just about everything other than next week.
So I'll get the fixture.
We won't worry about Brighton, Southampton. We got Leeds West Ham on Friday.
West Ham. No, West Ham. We'll go West Ham.
Right. I'm going for a draw.
Yeah, that's probably what I should have said, but we'll go West Ham.
Everton Chelsea. Everton are dropped, haven't they?
They have. Chelsea. They'll do decent against Everton. Everton haven't done anything in a while, have they? Nothing of any note.
I'm boring. I'm going to go Chelsea. Yeah, away. United City. Oh, now this is a fun one, isn't it?
I hope so much, even if it's probably not good for title chances. I want City to absolutely batter them.
Do you?
I'd rather City beat United than United beat City, because if City beat United, it doesn't make a difference to me. I don't care about it.
I'm not asking what you want.
No.
I'm asking you what you think is going to happen.
The problem is, I think United might actually win, but I'm going to say City.
I was going to say United win.
Mm.
I think City looks sad. I mean, they're still winning some, but I don't think. They just haven't got it, I don't think.
They don't look interested.
Newcastle, West Brom. Well, that's going to be the game on Match of the Day, isn't it? That's the one we're all going to be waiting for, watching. Gee, can West Brom pick up a point or more? I mean, you want it.
Do you?
I don't want. Yeah, I mean, they're going to go down anyway.
I quite like Newcastle. Yeah.
This has got Newcastle
draw.
Win, haven't they?
I think it'll draw. Yeah.
Newcastle. Wolves, Aston Villa. There's some toughies on here, isn't there?
Wolves will be without Jimenez, won't they?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Aston Villa.
I'm going to say Wolves just to be different, because I really don't know that.
Fair enough.
Arsenal, Burnley. Well, you've got to give.
Come on.
I'm going to say Burnley, because I'm going to say Burnley, because Burnley's defence hasn't been as good, but Arsenal's scoring rate is desperate. So I don't think Arsenal are going to score.
I don't want to say Burnley, but I think I'm going to.
Yeah, I am.
It just seems to be funny.
Crystal Palace, Tottenham.
Tottenham. I don't think that's really one they'll trip up, even though it has been in the past.
Yeah, I think Crystal Palace are going to win that.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because I think Roy Hodgson isn't an idiot. He will change his lineup. He will change his style to suit what he's playing. Tottenham have had it a bit easy in the last few games, and teams have come at them. And they've left holes for the counter-attack. Crystal Palace won't do that. In fact,
the opposite.
It'll be the opposite. I think Tottenham will find that a struggle, and it'll be very boring first half. It'll be a struggle, but Tottenham, Crystal Palace will be happy with a draw, and so Tottenham will end up having to go for it. And at that point, I think they get zapped. So I'm going Crystal Palace.
Good explanation.
Fulham, Liverpool, no need to discuss that one.
No, that's fine.
Yeah. Leicester, Brighton.
Leicester,
yeah.
Yeah.
And,
no step up.
Oh, and the next one, Southampton, Sheffield. Well, that's Southampton.
Southampton.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It don't matter how nice and friendly you're being. There's nothing in that. Okay, so that's that. And we'll leave it a miss here, and you never know next week. Oh, you're going to be here. Yeah, we might.
I'll actually be able to watch the Wycombe game this time.
We'll actually even see about getting a guest on next week, shall we?
Go for it.
Go for it. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. I hope you found that really fascinating and interesting, which is why we get so few people watch this one, Kieran. Okay.
Oh.
Right. Thank you very much, everybody. And I think tomorrow I will be putting out the and where I stand against the game we've got coming up on Wednesday, away at Barnsley, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
What do you reckon? Before you say
1-1.
1-1, right.
Yeah, that'll do.
We've got to win a game. We've got to win a game. Okay, thank you, everybody, and good night.